What's up, everybody? How are things? Welcome to today's video, which is a Doctor Who Season 41 review. Spoiler review. We're going to talk the whole season. I literally had a bunch of notes. This is literally from the Robot Revolution to the Reality War. And we're going to talk about all the moments that we, as in all of us, saw. But I'm also going to share my opinion, so don't come after me if I think a certain way than someone else. Because I have an opinion, I'm going to share it. So, here we go. Okay, so, Robot Revolution. So let's start with Belinda herself. I really like her character. At first I was kind of like, oh, where are they going with this? Oh, what are they going to do? Oh, it's predictable. I kind of had that predictability in my head. But then, I love how Belinda gave the Doctor crap at the end. And she's like, you're going to take me home. I'm not falling for your bull. You took my DNA without explanation. And I'm like, oh, call them out big time. And I'm like, yes, we need more of that. More of that. Don't get me wrong, I like Verada Sethu and Millie Gibson. And it's like, I think both of them did a great job, and I think both were probably my favorite companions by far. When the robots came in and sort of broke into Belinda's home, they extinguished the cat. How dare you? I'm not gonna keep my cat when watching Doctor Who after seeing that. Wow. But, cats be safe while watching Doctor Who, please. Alan. Alan. You need to touch grass. So for those people who don't know, Alan was Belinda's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. And he was a piece of work. He seemed like an interesting person, but then it sort of derailed. And remember, this is spoilery, so I'm going to just full out come out and say it. Spoiler warning. Alan becomes the great AI, or the great Al, I guess you can call it. And basically, he's an incel, or at least that's what they portrayed him as. And that one scene where the polish, cute robot, by the way, I would love to see a whole thing based on him, even a little video or something of polish trying to communicate to audiences. I will love that video. I'd be like, yes, we need more polish. That scene was a little disturbing. He's just a sperm and an egg now, and I'm like, is that how you handle incels? Well, I mean, he was kind of a bad guy, and he was kind of controlling. As it's later revealed, he was kind of controlling. And that furthermore states that the polish robot. I love that little thing. I want a pet. Just polish. You go, polish. You wash that floor. It's like a little passionate robot. Polish, over and over, and just kind of... That thing is so adorable. I love it. I liked the 1950s aesthetic. I really liked that what they did behind the scenes was really flippin' cool. Because they turned one of their studios into a 1950s planet or whatever. And that's the time where Belinda Chandra arrives. And when she arrives, she meets the Doctor, but the Doctor knows who she is. Belinda doesn't know who he is at this point in time. And so the Doctor's speaking every ninth word, and that ninth word is the truth. And that was cool. I loved that. And I also loved the relationship the Doctor had with Sasha 55. You can tell they had a history, and that was nice. How Ncuti portrayed that as more of a sad, a tear rolled down his face, and there was a lot of complaints about Ncuti being too emotional and like always crying all the time, always like, a tear falling from his eye. Like, there are other ways to initiate emotion. If you have the Meisner technique down pat, you don't even have to have the tear. Even the sorrow eyes, like your eyes watering is enough. So if you even turned around, had a brief moment, and like walked off and then shook it off or whatever, that's more emotionally impacting than a tear falling. But the tear falling has to come at a right moment. What else am I? The power going out at the hospital, but oh yeah. I love when the Doctor's like uses the sonic screwdriver and like, oh, what's that over there, huh? And then the whole thing just shuts down. That was a good moment. That was a good comedic moment. Bravo. What else? Let me see. Oh yes, and finally, the certificate paradox. I thought that was really interesting. It wasn't only two certificates, it was the same certificate, and it was a paradox, and it caused everything to go haywire. And that's why you had, what's his name? Alan regress into a puddle of man fluid. And then you had Belinda, which in all those glitches and all those moments, the Doctor saved Belinda from all those incidents like very quick. It was like boom, 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 boom. Episode 2, Lux. So really loved this episode. This one was strong for me. Lux, God of Light, Lux Imperator, voiced by Alan Cumming. First of all, I think Alan Cumming was probably one of the best actors to have on that show. He's a really good actor. Really great talent, for sure. I do like how the Doctor and Belinda become cartoons. I got a 2-dimensional brain! And I'm like, oh, where are they going with this? And then when they become more in depth, like you're never gonna take me home. Poof. Like, that was kind of cool. Reginald and his wife. So I thought that was a very touching moment. Like when she came out of the film and started dancing with Reginald, I thought that was very beautiful. And then Reginald himself was kind of like hiding and like didn't want anyone to come in, but he also didn't want anyone to get sucked into the film, which was really cool. The Doctor Who fans. That was fun. That was really, really fun to see Doctor Who fans. And I'm like, that was such a meta moment. I thought the Doctor and Belinda were going to come out of the screen. I'd be like, hi, Ncuti. Hi, Verada. You know what I mean? Like, there was a moment where I'm like, oh, my imagination is opening. Oh, but they meet other fans. Okay. And I just thought that was really hilarious. The regeneration energy going to Lux at the end there. Yikes, holy crap, what is that turning into? Eesh. Lux becoming 3D. First of all, look at this. Is that not nightmare fuel? I'm gonna be not asleep for days. He's like... just making this... What a funny character. Yeah, part of the pantheon, sure. Lux's ending, him absorbing too much light, and then he just becomes space. The Well. First of all, like, what a great episode. That one, like, The Well was my favorite of all the whole season. Wow, 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 wow. That was cool. I really loved that episode. At the top, they played Toxic, which is a throwback to the End of the World episode with Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. Foreshadow, by the way. And the Doctor, and Toxic was like that song. And then they used it again. So I thought that was kind of fun for the characters, but I'm not really a fan of that song myself, but whatever. After they fell and after the intro was happening, the Doctor was using a Vindicator, and Belinda looks up at the sky in awe. I just want to say that is a fantastic galaxy shot. I'm like, there's been some really neat, nifty shots of this season. Like, I'm just sitting there going, if I saw that in real life, I would still be like, hey, remember the time when I watched The Well and there was this, you know what I mean? It's really cool. Okay, I'm going to talk about my favorite topic. Alice. I thought she was really adorable. I'm making a terrible heart symbol. But basically, what a performance. The whole time I was on her side, the whole episode. There are a lot of good moments from her. And I don't know what she did in her preparation, but dang, I love that. That was amazing. She deserves a standing ovation. Like, that's awesome. She was a fantastic performer. In fact, she wasn't even performing it. She was living it. Maybe she's familiar with the Meisner technique. I think so. I found it very moving. I never cry in movies, by the way. Shouldn't say never, but I do shed a tear every now and then. I do get my eyes water every time. Don't turn your back on me. When she said that, and she was genuinely sad, I was genuinely sad. I was moved by that. I'm like, turn around and face her, you morons. Like, she needs attention. More than that, she needs love here. She needs caring. She needs, you know, all that. Like, wow. And it's like, that's literally wow. The Midnight Entity. I mean, like, I didn't know it was a Midnight sequel. I actually did not think it was going to be the case, but I'm glad they didn't do anything with the Midnight Entity aside from what they did in the episode. And Midnight, the David Tennant episode from before. And I also found it really cool that it's kind of playing games. It's like, yeah, Doctor, I know you. I've seen you before, blah, 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 blah. Here I am behind this woman. What are you going to do, huh? Blah, blah, blah. I think that's the attitude it had, and I felt it. Even though that the creature didn't talk or anything, or you couldn't even see it, I felt like that's what the mood of it was like, it's just a silly child playing a dumb game, you know, and it's like, ugh, it made you uneasy. We now move on to, Shea. Right. Her sacrifice, dang. Like, I loved how they include a little backstory, just not something completely long, but something to like, that's interesting that she ran her whole life before she was trained to be a soldier, I guess. I'm going to go with that. But I thought it was really beautiful. Just including that brief little scene of her as a little girl running across a fiery forest. Dang, like that's really cool. I was moved by that too. The attacks, or also known as Cassio, being a dink. Speaking of Shea, I felt like that was a dark moment, but necessary, because there are people like that who are more of a hindrance than of actual help. And Cassio was like out of control, and I could see why that happened. The reflection of the Mercury for everyone to escape. That was actually really brilliant. Even as soon as the doctor pointed it out, he's like, just shoot the, shoot both ends. And then Mercury comes out and I realized it's reflective and I'm like, you, sir, just earned the smartest Time Lord award. And then at the end, the entity survives and Mrs. Flood is commenting on the... And Mrs. Flood is commenting on the Vindicator and, how blah, blah. That ending, when the creature is like, there's something on your back. I'm like, oh, it's not dead? Oh, no. The Well, best episode. And that's at my top. That is at my top rating for this season. Lucky Day. Okay. Lucky Day. First of all, Millie Gibson gets a heart too. I got a soft spot for Ruby and Alice as well, and I guess now Belinda. Like, I have crushes, okay? But basically, but the thought of Conrad being like this villain was interesting. And I didn't think he was going to be a villain. I thought he was like, oh, he's just going to help her do sci-fi things. But that wasn't the case. In fact, he was pretending to be her boyfriend for a long, long time because of the neglect he had with his mother, which I thought was very sad. How she, And I'm like, oh, that's rude. How rude. Yeah, that whole reveal of Conrad being behind this whole shenanigans, I'm like I felt betrayed by Conrad, and I'm like, youch, this guy was so trustworthy, and now they just made him the worst guy in history. As soon as Conrad said, oh yeah, and your father, blah, 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 Kate was like, don't you dare say that. And I'm like, oh. And she's like, the doctor's not here for you to witness this, you know what I mean? And then she goes out and unleashes the shriek on this guy. And shriek on this guy. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm with Kate on this one. And then Mrs. Flood coming as the governor at the end, releasing Conrad. And I'm like, the Ronnie was a governor. You'd think by now, I actually didn't know that until I read the Ronnie's bio. Or watched Who Culture and Theories, because those are the two YouTubers that I do watch for info. But I think it was interesting, and I'm like, oh, I'm surprised no one got that. Okay, the story in the engine. So I really loved the prequel story. I really loved reading it. I thought that was really cool, so spot on to that. The window that tells stories. Again, I thought that was absolute genius, the way that it was just fixed into that little barbershop. I thought that was a really original idea. Hire this writer to be a Doctor Who writer. This guy needs to be hired. The shop feeding on stories, and then which is carried by a big spider on this portion in space, which I thought was really cool. And I was like, oh, this is amazing, really cool. And the whole culture with Nagos Nigeria I thought was amazing, and it's always good to see that, we don't know much about Ncuti, so it's always good to kind of, get more of his world into Doctor Who, so I found that really cool. The barber, the guy who played the barber, I can't remember his name, but if you let me know in the comments, whoever played the barber, wow, he was good. I was intimidated by him, but just by his performance alone. I genuinely believed he was a villain. And he just wanted power, he wanted stories, he wanted all this stuff. And then Jo Martin came back, the fugitive doctor. I literally yelped at the screen as soon as I saw her. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I thought that was the most amazing thing that's happened. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. The fugitive doctor is here. Woohoo, woohoo. Anyway, Belinda missing her nan's birthday. I thought that was really horrible. I'm like, she got called to another shift, right? And Belinda's like, but it's my nan's birthday. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Belinda. I feel bad for you. Anansi and God's mentioned. At first, I actually believed the barber that he was all these people. And then the doctor's like, yeah, you're lying. Stop it. You know, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what to do with all that info. It was, wow. I really loved, and this was an excellent thing, how they used hair as like a maze. And so the doctor was like kind of pointing out like where they were going based on the maze. I thought that was a genius idea. I really did. Dude, do that again, please. That was really cool. The spider almost escaping at the end. I was like, well, the spider's got, you know, like, fix this. You know what I mean? And then it was fixed and it was over. I'm going to do a whole rating, kind of like what Who Culture does, and they put like their rating at the end there. So I'm going to do the same thing. The Interstellar Song Contest. So this episode was very different. Excluding the Ronnie scene and the Susan cameo, I felt like this was a weaker episode without those two. And like, doo-ga-doo, 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 doo-ga-doo. No, I'm just kidding. Not to doubt Juno Dawson at all. But I think, like, I don't know. It just felt kind of weaker. Like, I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I did. I liked the cameos of Ryland. I don't know what he's from. I know he's a TV show host, and Graham Norton, of course. Like, that was cool. You know, the fact that they were in there was really interesting. Kid and Win, again, another woman actress that that I have a soft spot for. Oh man, these women, these Doctor Who women, I tell you, they're... Stop being beautiful. Let's talk about the Dug-a-Doo. Dug-a-Doo, now in my head. It will be in my head. Thanks, Murray Gold. No, Gold. I said that weird. Thanks, Murray Gold, for that. Now I won't be able to sleep for other reasons. Dug-a-doo, dug-a-doo, dug-a-dug-a-doo, dug-a-doo, oh. You know. Oh my god. It's so funny. Oh. Okay. The Susan cameo. Susan Foreman. Again, another moment that I was like, I was like that for most of the season. You know what I mean? Like the whole time. I was like, I thought was, wow. Like, wow. Suddenly Susan. I'm like, I haven't seen you in 62 years. You know what I mean? Or 60 years, I guess. Because, what is it? 66? No, is it 60? When's the Dalek invasion of Earth? That was 64, right? Yeah, that was 64. Belinda's reaction to being without the Doctor was probably the most genuine moments. And I thought, yeah, what are you going to do? You're trapped in this room. The only person that can save you is a Time Lord. And right now that Time Lord is nowhere to be found. That hopeless thing. I'm like, oh, Belinda, don't worry. Something will happen. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like giving her sympathy, giving her support. You know what I mean? So a big win on Verada for that one. That's a really good moment. Another moment that's not on here is the Doctor's dark side. When he was torturing Kid. Yikes. First of all, I don't want to get in the Doctor's way if the Doctor did that. But, dang. Where was that Doctor beforehand? Where was the Doctor in that last season? Other than Dodd and Bubble. But like basically, dang, rage. My God, Shooty. Ooh, good acting, but making my mind up. I have that song on my playlist now, and I thought that was absolutely amazing. I thought it was, yeah, I thought, can't even see my other hand, but basically I thought, I'm like, you know, the whole time, as people were getting restored. I was going, like, I actually enjoyed that song. I haven't heard it in a long time. Only heard it like once or twice, but yeah. What's next? Oh yes. Oh yes. So now, the last thing before I talk about Wish World, the Ronnie bi-generating. I think before Wish World, I kept that on a loop. I was watching that a lot. I was watching it so much. I was like, wow, it's the Mrs. Flood was the Ronnie the whole time? Bi-generation makes sense. Because bi-generation is a form of survival, I think is how it's based off of. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, by the way. But yeah, that was interesting. Wish World. There's a lot to break down in these next 2 episodes, so I'm going to be really quick about Wish World. Just some moments that stood out for me. I actually thought this was a great penultimate episode, just like last year. Like, it was a great build-up. The 7th son of the 7th son of the 7th son, the Desiderium, God of Wishes. I actually thought that was a really good idea. Like, I genuinely thought that was a good idea for a god. Like, add something new, you know? It sparks it up a little bit. That's very cool. And when it's revealed that the baby was part of the Pantheon, I thought that was really cool. I'm like, and I'm like, no, baby's creepily laughing. No, thank you. But wow, that was that was something. The Doctor and Belinda. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, WandaVision. I can see where that inspiration comes from. Good job, Russell. There you go, WandaVision. But yeah, I just found that kind of hilarious. You know, Doctor and Belinda becoming a couple. Like, that's Conrad becoming one of the unholy trinity. I want to laugh at that, because it's like, you're getting this guy to be part of the unholy trinity. Are you kidding me? I think the Ronnie and Desiderium would be the unholy trinity alone, and Conrad's just a servant. I thought that would have been a much better idea, but then again, he kind of was, but it was his world. Mrs. Flood and the Ronnie, so Anita Dobson and Archie Punjabi, both great performers of the Ronnie, by the way. I would meet them just for the sake of it. The relationship between them I thought was really kind of hilarious. Like, Mrs. Flood's Ronnie was getting a little, like, PO'd because she wasn't the top rank, and I thought that was a pretty interesting idea. Oh, she's become this, like, subservient character. But in reality, she wants that back. She wants to have the power back, even from her past self. So I thought, not her past self, her bi-generated self, her future self, I guess you can say. And maybe that might be a good way for Archie Punjabi to come back. If Anita Dobson properly regenerated into Archie Punjabi, then Archie can continue on. That would be a good reason to bring her back. I think that'd be really cool. Tables don't do that. Who told the Doctor that? Rogue. I mean, it's great to see all these characters again, but I thought it was very unnecessary. I really think this episode put in too much to set up. And I think, like, I mean, hey, Rogue's back, great. That doesn't bother me. I'm like, oh, it's always good to see a familiar face come back. But it's not necessary. It's like, oh, tables don't do that. That could have easily been Susan. Susan could have said that, right? Another character, it just feels like, why are they there? And we'll dive more into it when time goes on. I mean, it's great to see, like I said, it's what I say about people coming back or whatever, it has nothing against them. I am literally saying that right now as a disclaimer. Susan Twist, I thought it was funny that they brought her back as the tea lady, even though she made bad tea in the Empire of Death, so I thought that was interesting. Ruby, again, I thought it was really cool that they brought back 73 yards. Like, they brought back that little blip and that flashback. I thought that was really interesting, which I'm going to lead to. I saw him in the background of Wish World when Ruby and the rest of like the neurodivergent people and the handicapped people were there in this desolate world, in this made-up Conrad version of the world. Theres was there, and I'm like, oh, I watch his videos! Even though he was there in the background, I thought it was a great delight that he was there, and he actually had a chance to be a part of his favorite show. And bravo, good sir. I watch your videos all the time, except for the leaks. Because obviously, I'm not a leak guy. I tend to not believe them. I take it with a grain of salt, and then further process them later on. And whether they're true or not, you know. The Bone Palace. I thought that was pretty cool when, like, you know, there's like this thing in the sky and like no one can access it. Really cool. The Seal of Rassilon. Yes, please, bring that back. Even though that was never like, I think it was in Doctor Who a few times, but to see it again is really cool. And I actually did think Rassilon was going to come back. The Vindicator, the use of it. The Ronnie's use of the Vindicator was actually brilliant. That is brilliant. That's exactly what I would have done if I was the Ronnie. The Doctor and Ronnie relationship. Like the Siege of Persephone. Like, you can tell there's so much history when she puts on the music and they start slowly dancing. I felt like that was a really good moment. It's like their whole relationship is shown there. That whole relationship was shown in like 10 seconds. It was really nice. I was not expecting Omega to be in that episode, but I did sense like a greater threat would be introduced or rebrought. Do you see where this is going? Like, there's so much to watch for, and it's like that was really weird, and it's just want to make sure I covered everything. Yeah, when Omega's name came up, I was like, oh, another moment, right? I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what they're going to do with him. All right, so we covered the first 7 episodes. Now it's time to cover the season finale, which I just saw today, by the way. The filming date is May the 31st at 6:41. I must say, I'm coming out of this episode, I was very disappointed. I'm not joking. I was really disappointed on the episode. There's so many unanswered questions, but for the wrong reasons. Like, we didn't hardly get answers at all, except for Poppy. Which I'll get to. But I just want to say in general, that was not my favorite episode. The execution of it, like, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not, I'm not like treating anyone unfairly. I bet they worked their butts off on it, and I saw a lot of YouTubers reacting the same way. They're like, yeah, this episode was not one of my favorites, and lots of people are saying, like, there's a lot of thumbs down. But I'm going to start positively first here. And I think we should give it a fair chance. Big kudos to every single film crew and cast. They worked their butts off on this episode, so applaud to them. Let's see. The positives. A great save by Anita. I did not see that coming. I didn't know how the Doctor was going to get out of that. The involvement with Anita in the Time Hotel when she coincidentally opens up that door, and the doctor was like, oh yes please, I'll just go in through that door, thank gosh I'm saved. I thought the banter between Mrs. Flood and the Ronnie was hilarious. There's a specific line that Mrs. Flood said that was like, I can't remember what she said, but it was hilarious, and I like gushed out laughing out loud. I thought it was really funny. I think the screwdriver was really cool, especially the doctor copying the genetic code or copying something like that. I thought that was really cool. I thought Ruby and Belinda finally met officially, and they were like all talking, and I thought it was really cool. Jodie Whittaker came back. The 13th Doctor came back for a cameo. Again, I love Jodie. I love Jodie's Doctor. I thought she did a great job. When she appeared on the screen, I was like, oh! Again, another one of those moments. I thought that was really well done. Like the relationship between 13 and 15, that was really cool. To see that, 15 has lived a little bit more. And then 13's like, huh? And I thought that was a really good moment. It's also confirmed that Time Lords are sterile and that they can't reproduce. And I don't know how I feel about that. How is there 15 billion Time Lords? Looming, I guess? And I think I heard something about looming. So maybe that might have something to do with it. They're just created. I don't know. But there were tons of good moments. And if I missed out on a good moment, and if you watched Reality War and you were like, Steve, that's not fair. You're being too negative about it. I really liked it. Kudos to you. I think if you enjoyed it, I think that's great. You found an episode that you enjoyed. This is my personal opinion, though, and I'm not going to agree with you, unfortunately. Sorry, person. Another thing I liked, one more positive note. The relationship between the Ronnie and Mel, that moment when they reconnected, I was like, Mel's not going to be happy with that. That I thought was cool. Bonnie Lamford, good job. And Archie Panjabi, you too. And Anita Dobson, all three of you. Boom, done. That was really cool. Oh, and I also liked how Anita was looking for the doctor, and every time she opened it was a previous doctor, like Matt Smith, John Pertwee. It was like a brief appearance from the episode Rogue. She went, oh. And then I was like, oh, she was in love. God dang it. Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty stuff. Omega. What is that? What is that? That's the worst design I've ever seen. But thank goodness that he wasn't a bird or a dog or a cat or anything like that. But I think people were expecting like a ghost head or something. And if that's the case, I found it so weird, and I think it's a lost opportunity for Archie Panjabi's Ronnie by getting eaten by Omega. I was like, are they actually going to show him? And I'm like, oh, they showed him, but not in the form I expected. Susan wasn't there. That's another thing I'm kind of mad about. Where was Susan? There's this build-up from Interstellar Song Contest, Wish World. Oh, that means Susan didn't show up at all in the episode. What was the point of that? You're just, it's a cameo role. Really? Otherwise it's going to be like, who's that strange woman? I'm sorry, guys. This episode was a lot, and there was a lot of build-up, but not enough to land on. If you were to put Susan there, please put her in the finale. I think it'd be fitting if she at least said hello to the doctor, instead of being a little blip in reality. There needs to be a proper use for them. Like, they can't just stand there with an iPad, or they can't just have a cameo without a reason to be there. I really liked the Zero Room that they brought that back from Castrovelva. I thought that was really cool. As soon as he said, "Oh, that's the Zero Room," I'm like, from Castrovelva, good for you. Okay, now the big one, the regeneration itself. Here's my feedback. So, I thought the weird involvement of Joy. I mean, like, the support was there and everything. You know, Joy from the Christmas special. Like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay, blah blah blah. I won't regenerate alone. Really cool. Helping 15 regenerate. I thought that was interesting. Okay, now the big one. Billie Piper. Yeah, as I said in the last video, it was a desperate move by the BBC. Remember me saying that in my previous video? If you haven't, go see it. But what are you doing, BBC? I think this is one of the worst ideas ever. I thought it was strange. Again, nothing wrong with Billie Piper, nothing wrong with David Tennant or anyone who came back. But this cannot be a trend. This is something you should do every once in a while. If you can't find a new doctor, then cut it. Just say the doctor will be back soon. Done. Cut it mid-regeneration. I would rather see that than to be disappointed in the outcome. Not that I have anything against Billie Piper herself, but I think she's a great actress, and I think, you know, she will do well. And I will still love Doctor Who. I just find it strange. It's a me thing. I just find it super strange that it's her specifically. Why her? Why, like, I don't want this to be a trend. And I'm sure none of the fans want this to be a trend either, where a companion is the Doctor. You know what I mean? There has to be a reason. You know what I mean? I don't think this is a good idea. This is the first time I'm actually coming on and saying this. Every incarnation up to now, I've always like, okay, well, I'll warm up to it. But this one, it's going to take some time. But from what I hear and see, normally when they introduce a new Doctor, they go, I'll just use a random name, and introducing Dave Stavis as the Doctor. You would see that, right, as the new Doctor, like what they did with Ncuti and what they did with David Tennant. They even did that with David Tennant as the 14th. But it also seems like, after reading Billie Piper's post through Who Culture, it seems like it's going to be a brief thing. It sounds like, oh, I'm going to come up on the TARDIS one last time. And I'm like, so you're not going to be on for very long, it seems. Ellie from Who Culture kind of actually like made me think of the more positive sides out of it. So thank you, Ellie from Who Culture. Really appreciate your moral support. Because when I was done that episode, I didn't know what to think. My mind was scrambled, and I was still like high tense, like my heart was racing like 50 times a minute. And like my mood was just like, I was ready to like be like, I don't even know where my words are, pardon me. But basically, like, Who Culture and Theories sort of helped me out with that sort of level-headed, to view it from a more positive outlook than a negative one. Because after I was done, I was looking for support for the episode. And I was like waiting on their reactions and stuff, and everyone's reactions. I'm like, come on, post something. So I was looking at all that stuff. Nothing wrong with Billie Piper herself. I just think it's a very strange idea. And like, I don't know how what direction it's gonna go. The future of the show, I have no idea. Right? I don't know how long. Another thing I want to do too, I don't want it to be a trend where we have to see a doctor every year, because that ruins the tenure. I want it to stretch it out. each doctor should wait at least 3 years, right? Per contract. I think that's what it should be. And that's on my final note. I think you can't have a doctor regenerate every 2 seasons. You can't. I'm sorry. Even if it's like super short, unless there's an absolute reason, pick someone new otherwise, BBC. There's a lot of actors out there who are desperate for this, who need money. They need money, they need to add something to their resume, and like, I just don't know what it's gonna look like. But hey, maybe I'll warm up to Billie Piper eventually. But for now, I need to step back from the show for a bit. I will always watch Doctor Who no matter what. That's my thing, but I do need a break. And I think that's it. So my total ratings, The Well at number 1, The Story in the Engine at number 2, Lux at number 3, Wish World, Interstellar Song Contest, Lucky Day, Robot Revolution, Reality War. That's my final. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Click the like and subscribe for more content like this. Anyway, there won't be too much going on, but yeah, there'll definitely be more videos like this to come. So yeah, I still gotta warm up to that, and yeah, so those are my thoughts about the episode, about each episode. So yeah.